So this all depends on, your sort of role. If you're an adult living with food allergies, it's really communicating with loved ones and family members and friends. Just saying things like, I'm allergic to these foods. If I eat them, it can make me pretty sick. So generally, I just need to avoid eating that. I can do so just by making sure that I read labels on things that I eat. Or if you prepare any food for me, I need to ask you about the specific ingredients that are involved. If we go out to eat, you may, hear me talking to our wait staff about what I'm allergic to, because I really don't want to end up, ruining our date together and getting sick while I'm eating it. So really, that's all it takes, is making sure that I don't accidentally eat what I'm allergic to. It's also helpful, especially if you're in a close relationship with somebody, to explain, hey, if I do have an allergic reaction, I have this medication with me. It's called epinephrine. I can show you how to use it in case we're ever together, or you see me getting sick. In general, I probably won't have to use this on a regular basis, which is good. But if I ever do accidentally eat something I'm allergic to and it makes me feel really sick, such as getting uh, upset stomach or vomiting or difficulty breathing, or if I get itching and hives, then I'll take this medication because it's going to make me feel better. So I just want you to be aware of that. Now, when it comes to communicating with children, it always depends on their age and their developmental level. So for younger children, we just want to focus on making sure they don't eat anything that was given to them unless they know that it's safe. So we always want to make sure that you're communicating with other parents if your child's going on a play date, or teachers or school nurses and things like that. Same rules apply if you're going out to eat. My child is allergic to these foods. Go and make sure that anything we order doesn't have that as an ingredient, or doesn't have any contact with that. As children get older, we want to help them really understand, like if they go to the grocery store, how do we know if this food is safe for you? So teach them how to read labels, teach them how to communicate as they get older as well, and they can advocate for themselves. We used to think that we had to, protect young children at all costs, and have things like, nut-free schools and things like that. It turns out those aren't medically necessary. And children do really well when we model this behavior for them. And oftentimes their peers will look out for them. I see this all the time in my practice, where we have 4 and 5 year old children where their classmates and their friends know what they're allergic to, and they actually check labels for them, and they ask adults whether it's safe and things like that. So we just really want to model those sort of proactive approaches to making sure that we don't eat what we're allergic to. It's also helpful to model things like, if you're going to leave the house, and just reminding your child, hey, do we have your epinephrine with us? Why do we want to make sure we have it, just in case? That's right. Make sure you know where it is at all times. In general, we like to try to avoid unnecessary sort of like really fear mongering messages and fearful messages. So, for instance, if you're sending your child to school, it's one thing to say to the teacher, my child has these allergies. Have you had other students that have these same allergies? Have you had any challenges in the classroom, making sure that they avoid them? Have you ever seen an allergic reaction? We just need to make sure they don't eat it. That's a very different message than saying, my child has these food allergies. They could die if they touch the allergen, which generally is not true, which is good, but it's also sending a very different message. And we want to make sure that we're on the same page with other adults when they're taking care of our children as well. And then lastly, with relatives, this can be, we always need to keep in mind that everybody comes from a different point of learning. And for those who when you're recently diagnosed with food allergy, whether it's yourself or your child, think of the learning curve that you went through as well, and understanding what this means and how to avoid it. So we always want to, sort of take that same approach with all of our relatives and loved ones, especially those that we may only see a couple of times a year at holiday gatherings, but trying to be sort of just proactive in discussing with them, and then planning ahead of time, and say, hey, I'm going over to Aunt Sally's house for Thanksgiving dinner. Would you mind sharing with me what you're going to be preparing, what foods are going to be there? I just need to make sure that we have safe alternatives for myself, for my child. So just communicating ahead of time and preparing. And sometimes you need to, bring your own safe snacks with you as well, just so you can enjoy the festivities with everybody else.